Hey guys, everything's back again to review Chikara. Sorry it's a little late. I was actually in the middle of recording this yesterday, and then I had to go to the movies for something, and something stupid at the last minute happened that prevented me from finishing it. So I'm just gonna start over, start fresh, make sure things are still right in my mind when I review the show. Won't go too long. I did think the show was good. It was a fun show, great show to introduce to new fans. I thought. Not like I don't think wrestling wise it was like, up to par to like what Chikara is capable of, but I don't at all fault them for that. It was an introduction show. They kind of had to, introduce the new storylines, introduce the new fans, making it more of an introduction, fan-friendly show than an actual let's just have Fist and the Young Bucks go out there for 30 minutes in the middle of an iPPV like they did in June of 2012, which was an amazing match. But either way, I get it. I get why they did a show like this. And the show wasn't bad. The wrestling was good. There are some good matches in the description box, as you can see. To those that are new and to those that have never seen Chikara as, like, one of their biggest supporters and one that, like, talks about their product a lot on here and all this and that, they're capable of a lot more than what they did here. This is not like, don't like have the mentality, because I've seen some fans say this on the internet. Oh, this promotion has a lot of great stories, a lot of good characters, it's a lot of fun, but the wrestling's not supposed to be that good or all this. No. They will do better. No worries. But the point is not that the wrestling isn't good. The point is that it's secondary. And I've said this before. Obviously, Chikara, like any of the promotion, would be thrilled if all their matches that they had were like great matches that the crowd was super into and the guys like worked really hard. Chikara wouldn't like say no to that. The point is just that that's not what's important. That's not what matters. Like, yes, it can happen. It does happen occasionally, but it's not their priority. They don't book. So you get that. Like PWG, when they book their cards, they book it so they can book the best possible wrestling matches and that can get the crowd most into their matches and the guys can work hard. They want to book because that's what their promotion is sold on. Chikara doesn't book like that. Chikara just books what's more important for the storylines, what's more important for the characters. And then if the matches are great, hey, that'd be awesome. That really adds to the promotion. But that's not the main selling point because they're supposed to be different. They shouldn't be selling the same thing that PWG is trying to sell. That makes no sense because PWG does it better than Chikara. PWG has better talent, and PWG is the more established promotion when it comes to putting on the best matches. So Chikara doesn't try to compete with that niche. Chikara tries to carve its own niche so it can reach a different market. And I fully buy that. I think that makes a lot of sense. The whole purpose, I've talked about this before with my friends over the past year in the Indies. Like, the real true purpose of Chikara isn't just its storylines. It's also that when Chikara exists, the other promotions are better. Because when a lot of these other promotions do very much the same thing, like even AAW and AIW are doing, the Michael Elgin 25-minute main event match, which is, it's a great match. Nothing wrong with that. Because, I'm just saying, I'm using those two companies because they've made Elgin their champion. All promotions are doing this. And when Chikara exists, it's something different. It's something to, like, take you out of this, like, hard near fall type style only. And then when you see it again, it doesn't feel repetitive. And when a lot of people have said this in the past year, and I fully agree with it, since Chikara has been gone, you kind of get the feeling that these other indies are feeling a little repetitive. Just kind of like Dragon Gate USA, PWG, AIW, AAW. They kind of start to feel the same when they're doing the same thing over and over again. And when you don't have Chikara there to be the difference maker, to be the promotion that does things differently, that makes you think differently, when it's not there and you're just watching these other companies do the same Michael Elgin main event style matches over and over again, it gets more repetitive. And I think Chikara is necessary not just for its own company, it provides its own great product to the people who love storylines and who love characters, but it also makes these other promotions not feel as repetitive because you do have, in fact, a promotion that does things differently. So you can watch your PWG, then you can watch your Chikara, and then you can watch your AIW, and if you're getting tired of the AAW, AIW, indie, PWG style, you go back to Chikara. And then you can go back to them when you're getting tired of Chikara. Like, it's a perfect balance. So I think the indies need Chikara. I think wrestling needs Chikara. I think Chikara creates better storylines than any other promotion. And when they don't exist, it really starts to let you know how bad other storylines in wrestling are. And I thought that was especially clear last year, where it really felt like there was no, like, really, really, really good storyline in wrestling, period. Because the WWE and TNA doesn't do it very well. Ring of Honor and PWG, it's not their priority. I think Chikara is... Without Chikara, like, everyone else's stories just feel a lot worse than they actually are. So I think it's good that Chikara's back. I think everybody's better as a result, and yay, Chikara. As far as the show, I thought the show was very good. I don't have too many thoughts about it. The matches were good. The crowd was fantastic, as you'll see throughout my review. The crowd was just super into everything they were doing. super into everything, and that's why the show like really felt fresh, because like every match felt important because the crowd treated it as important. It was clear everybody was just very happy to see Chikara back, and as a longtime fan, I can sympathize with that. Just like throughout the whole show, I was just like smiling. I was just like, man, it's so great that this promotion is back. It's needed. So that made me happy. All right, let's get right into it. We started off with BDK versus Spectral Envoy. I thought this was a lot of fun. You know, they didn't go too long. They didn't need to. I'm a big mark for Torsus. He's on my guilty pleasures list. Maybe he shouldn't be a guilty pleasure. Maybe he should be a pleasure. But he has something about him. I'm not saying he can like main event WrestleMania or anything like that, but he has something to him on the indies that gives him like an intimidating presence. That when he works with some of these smaller guys, just like it comes off really good. Like when he was working with Frightmare, they were doing like their little chemistry, and when he was working over Frightmare, you like really sympathize with Frightmare, and you really start to hate Torsus. So again, I'm not saying he has like star potential, but he has something. I do agree, something that we don't see often on the indies, and I think that makes him feel unique. So all his matches, I'm generally very into. So I was very into this one. Envoy did some great near falls towards the end, some great action sequences. That sounds so weird. Every sequence of wrestling is an action sequence. So many great, I don't want to say it, but high-flying sequences with all their dives. They really got the crowd into it there. And I thought the finish was very nice. I thought it flowed efficiently. The crowd expected it. It didn't feel awkward. And it was a very fine finish, I felt. And a fun match for the most part. Really enjoyed the BDK being back. They had, in my opinion, still the best storyline ever. The best invasion angle ever in the history of wrestling in 2010. So I'm very happy to see them. Sorry, I need a haircut bad. Very happy to see them back in Chikara. And then we go to Chuck Taylor versus Smooth Sailin and Ashley Remington. This was solid. I think this was more introducing the crowd to who Ashley Remington was. I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun. It didn't go too long. It was perfect for what it needed to be. Ashley Remington, I felt, was starting to get over with the crowd. I love his theme song. I think it's the best theme song in all of wrestling right now. So props to Ashley Remington. God, I know this is annoying. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. All right, next we got the Batiri versus Sinn, Bodhi, and the Odditorium. This was not good, I will admit. And the Batiri are going to think I hate all their matches because they always think I'm too harsh on them. Again, I don't even really blame them. I didn't like the finish for this. I know why they did it. They did a DQ finish. And because this was an introduction show, and because they're currently doing the big heel faction trying to take down Chikara, like, you know, all the heel factions, the BDK, the Colony Extreme Force, Jimmy Jacobs, they all had to win. And I get that. And they don't want to beat them because Quack fully believes that when a heel faction is starting out, you don't beat them. That's like when the BDK debuted, they didn't lose, like they didn't get pinned until like 3 months into the angle because he doesn't do it, and I agree with it. They took them 3 months before they lost the match, so it was at King of Trios Night 2 against the Colony. Yeah, that was the first time they ever lost the match. That was in April. That was 3 months into the angle because Quack doesn't beat them. So I get that, and that's fine. I get it. But just because I understand the rationale doesn't mean I can't be upset at the DQ finish. Like, kind of like with the whole Mike Bennett Tanahashi thing. And people get mad because they thought that we were being too harsh on Mike Bennett. It wasn't that we hated Mike Bennett. I mean, maybe some do. I don't. It's not that I hate Mike Bennett at all. I just think when Hiroshi Tanahashi comes in one time and there's no guarantee he's ever going to come back, when he comes in, you want to see him, like as a fan, you want to see him face the best guys in the ROH roster because you want to maximize that appearance of Tanahashi. And because Bennett wouldn't really be on my list of like the top 5 ROH guys, that's why we were a little disappointed. We understand why they did it. We understand that Tanahashi apparently wanted to work a slower style match. Ring of Honor really likes Bennett. They want to promote Bennett more going forward. We understood that, but it doesn't mean we, as fans, couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. And I feel the same thing with this. I understand why they did the finish, but it doesn't mean I have to just be okay with seeing a DQ finish on a debut show. That's what really bothered me. Like, in my opinion, on a debut show, you should really stay away from fuck finishes as much as you can. Like, don't tell new fans that we're good. We're okay with doing fuck finishes. I think that just is not a good thing to do on principle. Again, I know why they did it, but I wasn't a big fan, personally. And I don't know, they didn't really mesh too well. The Batiri were good in this match. I like Oliver Grimsley of the Odditorium, but I don't know, when the Odditorium had offense, when they were in control, when they were on offense, the crowd just kind of seemed to quiet down a little bit. The match didn't flow then as well as by consequence because it just wasn't as interesting. Again, nothing too wrong with them. I know I'm giving it a bad rating, but I'm more so I'm just not happy about the finish and the time. I just thought, like, would it have been the worst thing in the world, especially given what happened at the end of the show? Like, if Cobalt, like, Schoolboy, Klepto the Clown, like, plus many people complained that too many heels won in the show, and I agree. So you could have given, like, some face a win, because only one other face won on the show. I mean, depending on what you consider Ashley Remington, but it would have been nice. You didn't have to have, like, Schoolboy and Klepto the Clown, or whatever his name is. I'm going to probably look bad misrepresenting it. It wouldn't have killed the heat of the angle, and especially what they did at the end of the show with Cobalt. Like, it would have been a big deal. I just think doing that would have, not as many people would have bitched about the finishes on the show. B, not as many people would have bitched about too many heels going over. And C, don't tell your fans that DQ finishes are okay. So I think that's what I would have done personally. But the Batiri I love. Everyone knows that. Cobalt I'm a huge fan of. And Sinn, Bodhi, and the Odditorium, they're fine. But just this match just didn't work for me. Sorry. Jervis, Cottonbelly, and Juan Francisco de Coronado. I thought this was a fun match. It didn't go too long. It was a nice, Chikara style comedy match. Juan Francisco de Coronado is hilarious. I very, very vividly remember his stuff that he was doing at Wrestling is Art. So yeah, Juan Francisco's hilarious, and I'm very happy he's going to be a regular in Chikara moving forward. I thought this was fun. Didn't go too long. It was fine, entertaining match. 2.25 stars. It was fun. It was solid. I enjoyed it. Next we got the 4-corner tag team elimination match. This was a good match. Obviously, a lot of the guys in this match are very talented. Mr. Touchdown of the Throwbacks, I personally think is one of the best guys in the Indies, and I think it's a damn shame that Chikara died last year because he could have had such a good year and he could have gotten so much more buzz and momentum. But it is what it is. Dasher Hatfield is extremely underrated and a super nice guy, but extremely underrated as well. And obviously everyone knows how good Jigsaw is. Everybody knows how good the Shard is. Everybody knows how good 3.0 are. This was a fun tag team match. They won a while, and that was fine. The crowd was really, really into the Throwbacks here. The Pieces of Hate did a very, very good job. Very, very good job in deriving hate from the crowd. I felt Jigsaw, especially for a guy like, Chikara died. He was associated as one of the Chikara guys for a long time. And just it's their return show, and you see all these, even the heels of even the Batiri had to turn face to bring Chikara back, and Hollow Wicked and Ultra Mantis and Icarus, these guys that have been Chikara forever, they're coming back to help save Chikara, but throughout the whole time, Jigsaw, probably aside from Hollow Wicked, an Ultra Mantis Black, the most associated face with Chikara, just the whole time, just staying heel, not turning. It worked out great, and just he comes out today and he just doesn't even try to buy into the emotion of his company coming back. He just still stays as the jackass who turned on Mike Quackenbush, and he's great, fantastic in his role. The Throwbacks won this match. They won with a delayed vertical suplex off the top rope, and that was actually the finish. And the crowd, I don't think expected it to be the finish, but they weren't upset about it. It was a very interesting dynamic to see. Maybe others can see it and tell me if I'm wrong, but it was they didn't buy it as the finish, but when they found out it was the finish, they were happy. They were like, yeah, that's a delayed vertical suplex. That's a finish we never see in wrestling, but that completely makes sense as a finish because it's a delayed vertical suplex. So, yay! I got that vibe. It was one of the most interesting dynamics. He's just... Maybe they just really like the Throwbacks that they didn't care what the finish was, but I got the sense that it's a finish that probably should... It's a move that should be a finish in wrestling, but it's not in many other promotions. So to see it as such in Chikara was like a breath of fresh air, like a yay. We're treating finishes properly. I don't know. Maybe I'm way overanalyzing this, but I really liked it, and I thought the Throwbacks were great in this match. It's clear that they're going to be a big deal in Chikara this year. Whether they're going to be they won the Tag World Grand Prix tournament last week, so whether they're going to be champions or whether they're going to be big names, I don't know. I personally think Touchdown is going to be grand champion within a year. I guess I don't see Icarus having too long of a reign. I'm not saying he'd dethrone Icarus, but I think someone will dethrone Icarus, and I think Touchdown will dethrone whoever that is. I just think he's primed to be a big deal in Chikara. So yeah, good match. Archibald, Peck versus Jimmy Jacobs. This was also a solid match. Nothing spectacular, but it didn't need to be. It was a fine match. Jimmy Jacobs got over his character, got over the Flood storyline more. Archibald Peck, of course, loved and adored, one of the best characters in all of wrestling, honestly, legitimately. And he and Jimmy had a fun 8-minute match or whatever it was. Maybe I had the time wrong. The DDT sequence towards the end of the match was really entertaining. You'll know when I see it. And the finish was fine. It made perfect sense. It wasn't anything over the top. It just was a solid, proper finish. Continuing the Flood storyline. And, yeah, I thought it was a fine match, honestly. Not much more to talk about. Good wrestling. 2.5. Colony versus Colony Extreme Force. This was a very, very, very good 6-man tag. Colony Extreme Force have gotten better. I get the feeling that with the Colony, especially, I remember with the Colony, when Green Ant debuted, I didn't think Green Ant was like, when he debuted in 2009, I didn't think he was like this like amazing wrestler. I did think he was talented, but I just wasn't like blown away by him. But I just wasn't like blown away by him as a wrestler, but he's improved so much to the point that me and Ben Turpin on Twitter always like joke about this if you see our tweets to each other. Like, we desperately want more Green Ant singles matches, and Chikara almost never books it, and other promotions never book it because Green Ant's always teaming with Fire Ant, and that makes sense. Like, when you're bringing in the Colony, like I was just at Beyond Wrestling, the Colony versus the Juicy Product. It was a very, very good match, and Evolve, of course, did the Colony and the Bravados. No surprise. Like, the Colony are just, they're both like very entertaining. So when you have the mindset that you're going to bring in Green Ant, you're going to bring in Fire Ant as well. But if Green Ant were to have more singles matches, I think they'd be some really entertaining stuff, because his singles matches with Torsus, with Touchdown, with Eddie Kingston from 2011 2012 are all just really, really entertaining. So we need more of those. Next we get to but yeah, this match was really good, and this is what I really want to say. Sailin, or the Worker Ant as he's called now, is really, really over with the crowd. I love him too. I think he's great in his role, and I think he adds a lot to the Colony. And the Colony Extreme Force have gotten better, in my opinion. Just like with Green Ant, this was my whole point with Green Ant, that I just dozed off into this tangent about how great he is. When Green Ant first started, everyone was kind of down on him. When the Colony Extreme Force debuted last year, a lot of people didn't think they were that good. They thought they were an entertaining act, but their wrestling ability could be improved. I think they've gotten better, just from like my own quick observations. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I need to see more of them, but I think they've gotten better, and I think if they continue to develop like they were doing last year, they make for a really, really entertaining team. So I'm gonna give them a chance. This is the best match they've ever had, in my opinion. This was a really, really fun match. Another ref distraction finish immediately after a ref distraction finish in the match before, but I thought it was fine. I thought the finish they used here was fine. And the match was really entertaining, I felt. You should check this match out. Arguably the best match in the show. I had a lot of fun with it. And Eddie Kingston versus Icarus, this was a very good match. This was more of a story-driven match in that Eddie Kingston would be just killing Icarus, and he just kept kicking out, and the crowd started chanting, "You can't beat him," because the whole story was that Icarus had Eddie Kingston beat last year at Chikara, and Never Sorry, Never Compromise. And Eddie Kingston just kept beating the shit out of him. And because Eddie's a face, he doesn't get to have matches like this often, but I guess now he's a heel. But when he was a face in his reign, he didn't get matches like this often, but I think he's perfect for this type of match. Like, the just rough-nosed New Yorker just beating the shit out of the lowly babyface the entire match, and then the babyface, like, slowly making a little comeback. And then, what they should have done was having Eddie Kingston just, like, beating him anyways, beat the babyface. He does that a lot, and then in this match, Icarus is the one to finally beat Eddie Kingston. But because Kingston was only a heel for like the last 2 months of his reign, he didn't really get to have those type of matches. When he wrestled Hallowicked and when he wrestled Green Ant, I could be wrong. Maybe I'd have to go back and rewatch them. But from what I remember, he did not have that type of a match, and I just think that those type of matches would have been amazing. It was a lost opportunity, I feel, with Kingston, like with a big heel turn, not just being a heel for like, and a semi-heel for like 2 months, being like a year-long heel, just consistently beating the shit out of everybody in all his matches, and just like every match the story's the same, the babyface just gets killed, and he slowly but surely makes his little comebacks, but Kingston puts him down in the end. And if you would have done that for a year, then this match, that would have been amazing. But unfortunately, Chikara died. If Chikara didn't die, if like from June to May of this year, if those 11 months of Kingston were having those type of matches, I think this match would have even gotten more over than it did. But nonetheless, this was a very, very good match in my opinion. They really, really got over Icarus as the babyface. They really got over Icarus as the new champion. I mean, spoiler alert, I'm sure people know by now. Icarus did beat Eddie Kingston. Icarus beat him with the Chikara special because Kingston passed out. He didn't tap. He still has not tapped to the Chikara special. and the crowd went crazy. All the locker room emptied out into the ring, and it was a great moment for Icarus. Big props to that guy, man. He really does deserve it. He's been one of the most over heels in all of the indies for a long time. Very, very good match. Arguably the match of the night as well. Pick your pick of the double main event, which one was better. And then the heel faction came out, and they started fighting with all the faces, and everyone was like a large-scale brawl. It was the Colony Extreme Force, the BDK, Sinn, Bodhi in the Odditorium, Jimmy Jacobs, and Sidney Bakabella's Wrecking Crew, and Gekido were just beating up the entire locker room. And then two guys came out, Delirious and Soldier Ant. And I've already reviewed the show, so if you don't want to hear what happens now, you can turn it off. But I'm going to spoil what happened at the end of the show. Delirious and Soldier Ant came out both masked. They unmasked Delirious, and Delirious went apeshit and started beating up on the Batiri, who are faces and who were his partners when he was last in Chikara in 2012. But no, 2013. Yeah, when he was last in Chikara, he was supposed to be friends with the Batiri, but since they're faces now, he turned heel on them and beat the shit out of them. And then they unmasked Soldier Ant, and Soldier Ant, in like a crazy moment, just like dove through the ropes on top of the Colony and turned heel on the Colony, and then dragged Fire Ant in the ring and started choking Fire Ant. It was insane. I lost my shit. I was like, what? Soldier Ant's turning heel? And it makes sense if you follow the Colony storyline. He got kicked out of the Colony by Wing Vavasour, and they added in a Sailin, and then like there was that show, what was it? It was Under the Hood in 2012, where a Sailin was accepted by the Colony, and Soldier Ant just kind of felt out of place, and he felt very sad. And then you kind of wonder what Soldier Ant going to do now, and well, now they have him turning heel, and it makes perfect sense. And damn, that was amazing when that happened. So yeah, and then one guy in the faction, this big guy like in a Mantar suit, grabbed Cobalt and chokeslammed Cobalt on top of his knee. And at the end of the show, the story was that Cobalt was dead, and that the locker room had to carry his unconscious body to the back, and that's how they ended the show. I thought it was a great angle. I'm of course depressed as hell because Cobalt is my guy. Love that guy so much. So sad to see him injured now, and yeah, it was just really sad to watch. See Cobalt get killed. But the angle's great. We'll see how Chikara goes moving forward. The show was a lot of fun. The crowd was great. There was some good wrestling. I'd give it a 7.25. Would recommend it to anyone. Anyone that's watched my videos and has wanted to check out Chikara, you would definitely want to check out this show, because I've been pushing this promotion forever. And if you want to start, but you kind of didn't want to get lost in all the storylines, this is a great show to introduce you to. This is a great show to start off with. I would highly recommend it. And like I said, just a very, very fun show. Just very happy to have them back in general. This makes me smile to see my promotion back. Really, really great stuff. And they drew 1,500 people, their biggest attendance ever. Hopefully they keep that going strong. I will be at King of Trios this year. I've already bought my tickets. I've been before. I was there in 2012 and I had a great time. So I'll be sure to be going back there. I encourage you all to do the same if you really enjoyed Chikara. And please, anyone that likes me, likes my videos, you know this is my thing. This is what I pimp out like better than any other promotion. Give them a chance. Because if you want to give them a chance, this is a show to give them a chance. And I think you'll really enjoy what you see. With that, I'm out. Hopefully I'll be back with more Chikara stuff in the future. Thank you all. Goodbye.